I'm trying to see if I can in fact bring this particular relevance to what we are doing today and how we were and how we can in fact change our life to make it a much better way as to how we in fact are living today. So with that, I would like to bring a small story in the starting so that we can in fact relate to what I'm trying to talk about here and see as to how we can bring into the same picture. We can see if you're there, if you're not there, and what do we have to do, and kind of changes what I did to my life to see as to how we can in fact have a much better life. So with the story, like as we all know, we all work in organizations, and most of our time has been taken into that particular deliveries, meeting hard deadlines. Then we are actually keeping the clients happy. Then we have to keep our bosses happy at the end of the day. Undergoing all kind of pressures, the tight deadlines, working over the weekends, unable to cope up with the good work-life balance. I'm basically talking about the family, the personal life balance here. So with that having in mind, right? I mean, a lot of thought came into me. At the end of the day, am I really happy? Am I really doing the right thing? Am I really spending a quality time with my life, with my family? I mean, my daughter was growing. Most of the moments, she's like, "Dad, I need you." I wasn't there. The reason? I had to go back to office to, in fact, take care of certain deliverables there. So what could be the particular reason there? So I started thinking about the approaches. I'm sure there are a lot of approaches of the similar thing on the internet where I'm actually a great fan of Simon Sinek, who actually gives a wonderful speeches there. So I picked up one more topic from his area. So it basically talks about what, how, and whys. Okay, so when we talk about this, all of our approaches are always from bottom up always. So if there's any issues, let's go back and see as to what exactly the particular issues. We never go to the root cause of the particular issue. So with that in mind, I've broken down this into three different portions. One is going to be the what, hows, and whys, and then see as to how can in fact change the particular process to see if we can have a much better life. So when we talk about what, it's more about what am I doing this for? What is it that we in fact are doing here? What is the purpose of doing this specific thing? I mean, nobody knows. We ask your team member to work on something, your bosses ask you to work on something. We all think, why are we in fact doing this? What's the purpose of doing this? What are the implications? So what is it that I'm going to get at the end of the day? What is it that who is going to, what anybody's in fact going to get at the end of the day? What is it that they are in fact asking for? What is it that they actually really want? So these are certain questions which in fact boils into the what's of our minds, of a lot of people's minds, and then comes the how's. How am I supposed to do it now? Nobody's got an answer yet for it. And how is it going to affect me? How is it going to affect us? I mean, how is it going to affect anything for that matter? I mean, when I'm in fact talking about this, I'm not relating this only to my organization. It can be even to the family as well. If you start correlating this to the particular family aspects, come back and say as to how is it affecting my family? That's a place where we can have to come back and take a particular stand. And how is it that I'm going to do this? And how do I do it? So these are a lot of hows and the impacts and what we need to do and everything there. Then comes the whys. Why am I really doing this? Is it really making sense in terms of what I'm doing here? Why is it that it has to be this way when I know very well that this is not the right approach of doing it? And why should it always be like this? So, and why me at the end of the day? So these are certain questions which started boiling down in my head as to come back and see as to there's something going on. So what I did was I want to go back to the story again. So go back to the story, go with a little bit of flashback, and then come back and see as to what is it that we can set as part of a priority part. So as we all were children, of course, we all would have gone through the particular phase. And when we know, we in fact had our parents whenever we in fact wanted them. They were there for us. They were there for us at all given point in time. Hmm? They had a time for us, and there was very little time for everything else because there was a prescribed time for everything. We should play when we had to play. We had to read when we had to read. We had to be the family when we had to be the family. There were specific times for the smartphones. There were no smartphones then. The specific time where we had to spend time with our parents. Our parents were there all along with us. That's something what I felt was in fact missing at the moment. And when we come back to my story, okay, then I started thinking, what is important to me? What is it that I feel that has to be a particular change which will in fact improve my life? So when I in fact thought about it, the first thing that in fact came to my mind was actually my family. Family being, I mean, being the head of the family at the moment, try to see as to how is it that I can in fact bring my entire family together. Because after a certain age, when your kids move along with their lives, there's a time where you don't have to get a trigger thing in your particular mind called as a regret. I should have done that. Okay, so let me question myself. What is it that is in fact missing here? Okay, what are we seeing here? I mean, who is driving our lives? And what is it that we in fact want from our life, and why is somebody else controlling our life? So there are certain things what I feel that we have to bring change in ourselves. It can be as simple as where's a belief. Do we actually have the belief in yourself in terms of what you're doing? Based on what you're doing, do you actually feel that what you're doing is in fact good for you, good for your family, good for your team, good for your company, good for wherever that you in fact are? Okay? Wait a second. Let me stop thinking about the whys, hows, and the whats, and let's in fact replace it with the reasons. Okay. So first thing is what I in fact felt is believe in yourself. Okay? Believe first. Start believing in why you are doing this. Okay. When you know the reason of why that you are doing a certain change, certain aspects, certain decisions in life will in fact result in how you will do it and what you will do based on it. So now let's see as to if we have to change the whys with the reason. Okay, the earlier things when I in fact spoke about whys, I in fact spoke about a question mark. Now there will not be any kind of question mark. Just imagine this in your mind. This is why I want to do it. So I know a reason now. I know a reason as to why I'm in fact doing this now. Okay, this is how I want it to be. Talk to my daughter. If I go talk to my daughter, she comes back and says, "Dad, this is the way as how I want it to be." So the why is never in the starting; it's always in between of a particular sentence, which changes the entire perspective of the entire sentence, the meaning of your life as well. Okay, and then why? Why it's me? Why is it me? So the why never comes in the starting. When it comes in between, then there is a reason why you have to be in a specific situation. So when it comes to how, now you know why, you know the reasons as to why you in fact are doing it, why are you supposed to be doing it and everything. Now when it comes to reason, this is how I'm supposed to be doing it. So you know for sure how you have to do it now. And this is how it's going to affect me. I know these are certain changes what I'm going to do in my life. When I do these changes, this is how it's going to affect me, affect my family, in turn affect my life as to the way as to how I want it to be. So it's more about having more control over your life, more having more control over your career as to where you want to be, how you want to be, do what you want, do what makes you feel happy. And this is how I will do it. So when you know very well that this is the way I'm going to do it, you know very well as to what you're going to achieve. It can be as simple as when you go to your client. Your client is about talking to you something about some kind of a requirement. You know, boss, I'm been in this particular situation. I know what you want. You will get what you in fact want. The kind of understanding or the kind of feeling the client will in fact have on you is going to be entirely different. So let's forget about the client. Let's come back to our family life. When your daughter or your kids or your family member ask you something, you say, if you tell them, no, this is how I know it's going to work for you. It's because you know you would have thought about it. You know the particular end result, and you know where you in fact want to achieve in life and what you in fact want to achieve in life. And when it comes to what, I know what I'm doing. It gives me a sense of feeling of I know. I even thought about it. It's not something that I just have to just step into the particular situation to make things right or to change certain things. I have stepped into this particular situation to make sure that I am what I'm doing is in fact right. And I know what is the purpose of it. Okay? So if you actually see it that way, the whys were replaced. The whys were in the center of the sentence or in the middle of the sentence or anywhere in the particular sentence, but not in the starting of the sentence. Hows were the same way. Pause were not in the starting of the sentence, it was in the middle of the sentence. Okay, and it's the same thing even with what. You put the what in the center of the sentence rather than the starting of it, will give a different meaning, different purpose of what in fact I'm thinking. Okay, so this is what I in fact want to communicate to everybody. At the end of the day, believe in yourself. Okay, when you start believing in yourself, there are a lot of things will just pop up automatically. Fun will pop up, happiness will pop up, fulfillment will pop up, joy will pop up. And at the end of the day, live life king size. It's just one life that you in fact have. Make the best out of it. Stay happy, stay blessed. Thank you.